Folks, let's be honest with each other for just a little bit. You and I probably do a lot of talking about getting,
Mm,
but how often do we talk about giving? I
mm.
think this is an important conversation to have. We are doing this on Veterans Day. So thanks to all the veterans out there who clearly are giving when they sign and serve. But Brian, let's talk about getting versus giving. What does scripture have to say?
Yeah. So Proverbs 11:24 says, "Give freely and become more wealthy. Be stingy and lose everything."
Say that again.
Give freely and become more wealthy. Be stingy and lose everything.
Ooh, tell me more. How does that break down for you?
Man, it's deep on so many levels because, and obviously, right, this channel, my channel, all channels, we talk a lot about the 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 process of making money,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the process of building wealth, in the process of having things, in the process of being able to do stuff. But the concept in this passage is, in order to get more, you got to give more.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I think oftentimes for most people, they're thinking about getting instead of giving.
Well,
Yeah,
let's talk about that for a minute because
yeah.
again, together you and I have, I don't know, 80 years of life together, maybe
Mhm,
even a little bit more than that, maybe 90.
mhm,
And I would say 95, maybe 98% of the interactions I have with folks around money or time or knowledge is getting.
mhm.
I cannot think of more than a handful of truly meaningful conversations around giving. And now let's be clear. A lot of people on my channel that come back weekly, like yourself, are giving. Let's be
Mhm.
very clear. I believe what we do for 30 minutes on Monday every week, or at least most weeks, is giving for both of us. So you're not included in this statement, but almost everyone seems to be focused on getting, like getting this, getting that, getting this, getting that. It almost can be think about taking, right?
Mm.
Let alone getting. So I think there's a lot in giving because I think some naively think giving is always money. And
Yeah,
yes, that can be it, but it doesn't have to be, right?
yeah. I agree with that 100%. You know, God created all of us to be contributors. And so what happens is every gift that he's given us, whether it's financial, whether it's skill sets, our lot in life is to share those with others,
Mhm.
which is why, um, it's so important that we don't hoard everything to ourselves. It's a scripture that says, "Blessed is the one that hoards the grain," right? The intent is for us to be able to give and share with others because that's what continues to spread goodness throughout the world. That's what continues to spread commerce throughout the world. That's what continues to grow the economy and continue to help it to thrive by us sharing what we have with others. And
Mhm.
so when you look at that, and I know it's some people that would argue, well, what about, the super rich that don't seem to give to anybody and things of that nature? Well, the scripture says, "Give freely and become more wealthy, be stingy and lose everything." The part that we don't see, to your point, Mike, is while they may be super financially successful, they're on their fourth marriage.
Mhm.
While
Yeah.
while they may have $50 million, they anesthetize themselves every day with drug overdoses and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
So just because one seemingly has everything from a financial perspective, they could still be losing everything, as the scripture tells us.
Yeah. I think there's the more and more we have these weekly conversations. First and foremost, know that I enjoy them. I enjoy the eye opening. I enjoy, to me it's kind of like a history book, right? It's kind of a couple of thousand
Mhm.
years old and these words have been in existence for thousands of years and maybe open to interpretation, but as a guy who lives in the business world, lives in, helping people, it is eye opening to me to hear these words and phrases, from thousands of years. So thank you for bringing them. Um,
Yeah, and I just and if I could, Mike, really quick, I just want to say this from a person of faith, right? So maybe some are familiar with, the others not. tithing is something that's been talked about in the Bible forever, right? And talked about in society quite a bit because the church is always trying to get your money. And while that again, whatever narrative that we subscribe to fits whatever we're comfortable with doing or not doing, right? But I just want to say this because I think it's important for us to share our personal testimonies, right? One of the things that has been a fundamental in my financial makeup for the better part of over 2 decades now has been giving to the church, right? Which is essentially in my heart, I'm giving back to God what he's blessed me with. And the result of that, he continues to bless me more, right? And wherever you sit on that, right? I'll just say this, even for people that's not of the faith, many of them are big in philanthropy. If you go back and just look at the book, Jesus Christ, as soon as I said look at the book, what's the book where the guy went around and interviewed everybody, the Rockefellers, the well-known book.
Yeah, everybody will know what you're talking about. It'll come to me.
Yeah, when it's like 3 books that everybody knows in business. This is one of them. Jesus, I can't think of the name of it right now.
I'll get it. I'll find it. Keep going.
Okay. All right. You find the book. So
yeah,
in this book, as he went around and interviewed all of these billionaires of those times, right? The Rockefellers and, all of these various guys, the one thing that was consistent was all of them were givers. They were all big in philanthropy. And so whatever side of the aisle that you sit on with respects to giving, I think it's very important because here's the undertone to why it's important. When we give, and especially our first fruits, that's showing God that we trust him. Because it's easy to give of what you got left over, but it's harder to give first.
Yep.
Not knowing what you got left over. So what that shows is it shows that, one, you trust the one that gave it to you. Secondly, it also shows that you aren't attached to the money. You don't love the money because you're able to give the money up, which means that now that he knows that you haven't replaced the money with him, haven't replaced him with the money, then he'll give you more and increase your territory because he knows that your heart is willing to give up, to go up.
I love it. So when I typed it in, the first book that came up was Think and Grow Rich.
100%. That was exactly what I was talking about. Think and Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich. The OG. And again, that's a great book. I remember reading that book. Man, I must have been 25, 26. I read it again in my 30s. It's one of those books you can go back to. And depending on where you are in life, you'll take different things from it. Right. Sure. I remember reading it the second time, and I think I got like 30 pages in, and I was already getting different insights. So Think and Grow Rich is a staple for lots of people.
It is. And much of which is derived from the Bible.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Let's actually switch gears just for a minute, because obviously we're talking on Monday. The election was last Tuesday. Not only is the election over, but the winner is known, right? There's no dispute. So I guess I'm curious, Brian, you and I had probably hundreds, if not thousands of people tell us we're going to wait till after the election. So I guess we got a whole bunch of new investors, right?
Welcome, everybody. You know what I mean?
Welcome.
Yeah. Look, my guess is, Mike, now they're waiting till the first of the year.
I'll go one better. We're going to wait for inauguration. Yeah. Come on, guys. You got to do the work. It takes time. You're not hurting anybody but yourself by not getting started. It's crazy.
Facts. The only thing that you could have done by waiting for the election was put yourself further behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, right? Like, because now you're getting ready to get ready when you should have been getting ready and start doing the work so that you can already be out here doing everything that everybody else is already doing. Because here's the reality. Nothing has changed.
Yeah. It's funny.
Very little movement with rates, right? Inventory is still what it was. Nothing has changed in result of the stock market and otherwise, certainly. But I mean, in terms of an impact to the real estate market, whatever, I don't know what they were waiting on. We said that 9 months ago. I'm still confused now. I don't know what everybody was waiting for.
It's really crazy because I said it, I think 10, maybe 12 weeks ago, we've entered a buyer's market. We're in the thick of the buyer's market now. Mm-hmm. The longer that rates stay at 7%, the longer the buy. And again, people hear that and they're like, oh, I'm going to wait till 6, then I'll get started. No, you don't want to do that. You want to get started. You want to get started now. So you are ready. It's crazy. So let me read you a quote, a comment from Annie. Mm-hmm. Annie's a frequent commenter. By the way, thank you everybody for leaving comments. I do read them. It does help the algorithm. So shout out Annie. Does anyone feel like it just might be the beginning of a buyer's market? I made an offer on a home 1 month ago. I got a message back yesterday. They are finally willing to accept. Again, buyer's market, follow up, write the offers. They'll ignore you, but eventually they're going to figure out you're the only game in town. That is a buyer's market, Brian. I love buyer's markets.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many deals that can be done creatively right now because it's a buyer's market. Land contract deals are becoming more popular. Seller finance, whatever you want to call them. Your guys over at Velocity, right? That 50-40-10, like that's super creative right now in this climate where a seller would be willing to carry back maybe a second, right, for 40%. Yeah. I think it's a great time if you could just continue to stay aggressive. Right now, especially going into the holidays, there's always sellers looking to liquidate to make poor decisions around holidays, right? They switch from being investors to consumers overnight. It's the craziest thing to me. But you got people out there that's got these properties that have been boat anchors for them that they've just been paying property tax and insurance on. And if you can just stay aggressive and consistent and make the right offer, you'd be surprised that this time of year, people get an itch that they want to see, some zeros in the bank account so they go make some poor decisions.
Yeah, no, I think there's, again, we're in a buyer's market. If you get into a buyer's market and you have a tax year ending, the closer we get to December 31st, the more the pressure builds, because some people, whether it's poor decisions to become consumers, but there could also be tax consequences, right? If you could find someone who has tax consequences, capital gains, capital losses, whatever it is, that window is getting really, really short, right? We're already, Veterans Day, November 11th. If you don't put something in contract by Thanksgiving, your chances of closing a conventional loan by the end of the year is not great, certainly not certain. So the pressure is building. Take advantage, write disrespectful offers, follow up. Pretty amazing. What do you think?
Oh man. If don't be like everyone else and fall asleep this time of year. Don't punt till January. Like, now is not the time. Every day you're either making a deposit or a withdrawal into your future. So when you make sweeping statements and take a general approach to the end of the year, like everybody else, this is holiday season, you're making a withdrawal from your future. Just stay consistent, do the work. And I promise you, one day you'll be able to treat any day like a holiday.
There you go, baby. Every day's Saturday. I love saying that. Brian, where can people find you?
Brian Adamson Official, YouTube, IG, and everywhere else. And shout out to the Orad family, man. I love talking to you guys when you send me DMs and such. So, appreciate it.
Again, IG at Brian Adamson Official. Send him a note. Tell him you love him on the show. Also, folks, leave your favorite Bible passage or Bible verse below. Brian and I will go through them. I'm thoroughly enjoying these. Really eye-opening for someone who's honestly never read the Bible. So it's always fun to have somebody who you know and respect teaspoon the knowledge to you. So Brian, I appreciate you, buddy.
Yes, sir. And look, I just want to say this to the viewer real quick before we leave. If there ever is any question or curiosity about what we're talking about, right, with respects to give freely and become more wealthy, be stingy and lose everything, just think about the fact that Mike has put out thousands of videos on YouTube consistently for over the last 5 years. And the result of it has grown over 60,000 subscribers and counting, probably be at 100,000 in no time. That's a clear example of giving freely and becoming more wealthy. And wealth is not just the monetary value associated with it. it's the wealth that I saw at the last ORAD celebration. I saw the true wealth come through in Mike's emotions. It was really indescribable. You had to be there to really understand it, which I hope many of you will be there this upcoming February to get it. But just Mike is a clear example of what giving freely and becoming wealthy looks like.
I appreciate it. Brian, just again, a total pivot. I don't know if you remember this, but I ran my marathon last Sunday. So just over a week ago. Two runners actually tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, you know, keep going, because they recognized me, which was awesome. And then there was actually a subscriber who waited outside their house for me to come by hours into the race screaming, Orat, Zuber. That is true wealth right there.
Man, I just got chills, bro. That's crazy.
That is crazy, right? Orat family, you are amazing. And we will see you in Vegas. Brian will be there. Come say hi. Come get pictures. Come ask him a lot of questions. He'll be there both days. It's going to be awesome.
Please do. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
All right, bro.